travelers, to my podcast, Hitchhiker's Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy. I am your host, Ike, and I will be your guide through the journey that is E&M. What's going on, travelers, and welcome to another episode of Hitchhiker's Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy. I am your host, Ike, also go by Hito in certain circles, and it is a pleasure to have you back here again for episode 4, Feelings Are a Thing. Now, the road trip track for this episode will have to be from Jasmine Sullivan herself, Pick Up Your Feelings. Now, the way she kind of described this kind of action in her song, it was more about how you kind of been detrimental to her, and now that she's biting back, like, yo, we don't need those feelings here because look what you have done to me, and now all of a sudden you want to act like the victim? Like, no. Pick up them feelings and get to going. So, that will be the track for today's episode. Love that woman. And, yeah, we're going to just talk about feelings because it's something that is always there but never discussed. And hopefully I can open an eye or two with my thoughts in regards to this topic. Before we get started, let me go ahead and give you a bit of a recap. It's been over a week since I've recorded. And yeah, so in my non-monogamous life, I did have a partner where we went out to the Domain, which is kind of like it's like an overall shopping center here in Austin. And along there is Rock Rose Road, where they have various bars, kung fu, dogwood. And yeah, we just went ahead and went out, had a good time. Haven't been out dancing and whatnot because pandemic, but it was a great time. I mean, you got this one random white lady is like, oh, you like Khalid. I'm like, first off, appreciate the compliment. I am not hating on that. But yeah, we had a good time. My anchor partner did just move in, so now I can also notate her as my nesting partner. And just to give some context, the reason why I prefer to use the term anchor partner versus a primary is because when it comes to relationship anarchy, hierarchy is not really the thing. Like, personally, even before I found out about relationship anarchy, I'm not really here for the hierarchical, you go first and you're in second place, you're in third place. Like, that's never been my jam. So luckily I found this term not too long ago as anchor, which essentially matches certain strands with primary, except it's not as though there's like that hierarchy establishment where more times than not when hierarchies, the secondary normally gets vetoed in place of the primary partner. So that's why I prefer to use the term anchor. And the term nesting partner, it just means the person that you live with, split bills with, things that you see in a traditional monogamous relationship is normally what's noted in a nesting partner. So yeah, helped her moved in. So that was actually a pretty smooth move-in, but 6'3", you got some 200-300 pounders, so I'll be lifting things. But nah, I need to go back in the gym. I am weak. Like, I was breathless going up and down these stairs. But yeah, so she lives with me now, and and one thing I did come to realize this week is I have to improve my scheduling skill because, again, y'all heard me, ADHD, we just live at the seat of our pants. So scheduling is a weakness of mine because I normally just go with the flow. But it's something that is necessary because one thing I don't want to do is have someone be neglected because I have to be mindful of my bandwidth too. Because yes, I am available for my partners, but I also have to be available for myself. Also, I did end up having a play date with my my third partner where, just did some BDSM kinky fun because it's always a fun thing to incorporate in any kind of dynamic or relationship. And I think I might have made just like a genuine friend on OkCupid because I feel like I am at my bandwidth in terms of like certain elements of these partnerships that are established with the 3 women I'm involved with. And so the bandwidth is spent. Like, I'm not looking for any more romantic partners or anything to that effect. But sometimes I do like to just go on the sites, look around, just chit chat, And I came across someone that was like, oh no, I'm just looking for friends, nerdy friends. And I love just talk nerdy to me. That's what I'm here for. Like I love just talking about be it anime, cartoons, or pretty much anything of that nature. So I think I might have made a friend. She's actually dope as fuck too. Invited me out to Oil Can Harry, which is one of the bars in like the gay strip of downtown Austin. So went out there for kinky bingo, and also invited one of my partners. Where I was like, "Hey, you want to come with?" Like, it was a good time. It was fun. The drag queens there were actually pretty entertaining. So it was it was a great time. But yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on with me since I last recorded. But yeah, it's kind of just all of this is all about experiences, learning from one another, sharing energy. I this is kind of the reason why I enjoy A&M as an option in terms of dynamics, because yes, there are in terms of monogamy, there are ways that this could be approached. When I say approach, like you hear the terms friends with benefits or fuck buddies or like all these varying things that establish that it is for the moment. Like it's gonna come to an end. Like at some point in a monogamous dynamic, the friend with benefits either will become your partner or you have to leave them behind for your partner, or you can do what malicious individuals do and try to have their cake and eat it too, where they have the monogamous partner, but then they have that sneaky link that they cheat on the side. Like, but I'm not about that life. Never been about that life. Not here for cheating because I'm a natural empath, so it's kind of hard for me to even think about cheating because the first thing I'm gonna think about is, how will my partner feel if I do this fuck shit? And then I'm feeling bad, and so I can never really get myself up to cheat, even if it was like a desire. So thankfully, it's not. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this episode. Again, title episode 4: Feelings Are a Thing. And the reason why I wanted to express that as the title is because more times than not, people are demonized for their feelings. Be it good or bad, it's kind of hard to express how you look at certain aspects of a person's perception of whatever. Like they perceive something and they feel a way, and then for some reason they're attacked for feeling a way. But the whole thing is, you can't control your feelings. Like, you don't get to choose what to be happy about or what to be sad about. No matter how much people try to tell you, oh, you gotta control your emotions, control your feelings, you can never control that. So let me go ahead and start off with a personal saying. Now, I kind of expanded on it, but you could ask the people I know, like, this is the number one thing I'm always saying. You are never wrong for feeling how you feel. That's something you can't control. What you can control are your actions based off of those emotions. That does not, that not does not, but that does take work and self-reflection. So it's not something where, oh, I feel a thing, therefore I should feel bad for feeling a thing. No, you're never wrong for how you feel. You're never wrong for your emotions. But if that emotion takes you to bust the windows out of a car, that's where you're wrong. Like you are taking something that is internal and expressing it in an unhealthy manner. So just note that, some people can do this reflection and work on their own. Others might need the help of therapy. I would just say avoid having your feelings act in a way that's detrimental to you or others. You don't want to hurt yourself and you don't want to hurt others. Like that should be at least where you got to mitigate harm. Like feel what you feel, process what you feel, and find a healthy outlet for those feelings. Because again, one of the quote unquote toxic masculinity traits that ends up hurting individuals more are say you're mad and you punch a wall or you break glass. Guess what you're doing? That wall ain't gonna do shit to you. That wall's looking at you like you crazy. You're the one with the broken hand because you punched the stud accidentally because you were all in your feelings. Like, no matter what, you have to be mindful of your actions. You have to process those feelings. And so that will lead me into part one of this episode. Now, what I really want to do is reflect on the more known emotions when it comes to ethical non-monogamy. Now, this will be insecurities, jealousy, envy, compersion, loneliness, neglect. Like, these are all feelings and emotions. Well, these essentially are feelings that will come up throughout your time, especially if you're new to it, because one thing that we lack as a society is the ability to have open and honest conversations and communications with one another. We're always trying to either one up somebody, or we're trying to read their minds and base our actions what we assume will be their course of action. And that's not healthy, be it in your personal life, in your relationships, no matter how many relationships you have. And I do want to go ahead and give my own personal experiences of these feelings, as well as the ways I combat them, because I'm not perfect. Like, I did not create this podcast because I am a perfect human being. No, I created it because I wanted to get my thoughts out there, and hopefully, so when someone hears this, they also reach back out to me and give me their thoughts, so that way we can bounce off one another and try to just become better people. That's the overall goal. Now, in terms of these things, the three top ones that you will always see, be it on Instagram posts, on other podcasts, like the top three are normally jealousy, envy, and compersion. Now, to define the three, I treat envy and jealousy are synonymous, but I feel like there's significant difference between the two. The way I see envy is, there is something that you truly want, whether you have the means to get it or not. There's something that you truly want. There's someone else there that obtained it. You are wishing to be in the position of the person that obtained it. That is how I define envy. That's how I see someone being envious. Oh, there's this beautiful woman at the bar. I would like the wherewithal to go and approach and at least say hello and talk, or maybe spark conversation. For one reason or another, I am hesitant, I am resistant. I just don't see myself, be it for personal lack of thought or anything to that effect, thinking that, oh, this is not meant for me. But all of a sudden I see someone else go up there, be it successful in approaching whoever and doing the things that I wish that I was able to do. That's how I see in terms of envy. Jealousy, I see more toxic than envy, because I see jealousy is more about you want something that someone else has without any thoughts of actually wanting that thing. For example, say, let's see. Yeah, for example, let's say I wanted to, like, my partner goes out on a date with someone and they're going skydiving. And then I'm over here like, look at this woman going skydiving. Like, ugh, like, what? You can ask me, like, what's going on here? Knowing damn well I would never get in the plane that high or jump out of it. I barely want to get into a commercial plane to get somewhere. But yet, I'm having these emotions of being upset that they're off doing said thing. That's how I kind of see jealousy. Like, there is no true logic behind it. It's not like, oh, I want to go skydiving. It's just, oh, you're going skydiving. And I feel like with jealousy, you can dive deeper to see what the true reason is. Like envy, it makes sense. It's 1 + 1 = 2. Jealousy, more nuanced. There's more deeper into it. Like, for the fact that in that example, it's not that I wanted to go skydiving with her. It's more so I am envious of the time being spent, if that makes sense. And compersion is something that you hear. It's almost portrayed as the opposite of jealousy, but it really is not. Compersion is its own thing. It's literally a word that if you try to do an auto spell on it, it will tell you what the hell you're trying to spell. But compersion is simply having joy based on your partner's joy with their other partner. Now, if I want to be on the vulgar side of things, think of stag and vixens. Now, what a stag and vixen is, they are almost similar to cuckolds, except they don't care for the embarrassment factor. But so, with a stag and vixen, like, they enjoy seeing they have fun seeing their partner in a sexual interaction with another person. Like they're getting joy from that person receiving pleasure from this other person. That's what typically stag vixen kind of dynamic is. For example, I could be sitting right here, my partner is with her partner or someone else, and they're having a sexy time while I'm over here looking at them, and I'm getting joy from her being pleased. That is a kind of compersion in a more like literal physical sense. The more general, she went on a date, had the best time of her life, and telling me about it, and I'm feeling so happy for her. Like, that's the more general, like, hey, you're doing a thing, you're having a good time, I am so happy for you. So that's, just the baseline definitions. At least how I see those three in comparison, that's literally the definition. So, on my end, like I said, I'm human. Like, I will feel things. So, I have my own bouts of jealousy and envy because, again, I'm human and I can't control when it happens. I could try to figure out why, but I'm over here like feeling a pit in my stomach or feeling a bit of sadness because, again, I am human just like you are. We all are. We feel things. That's just how it is. And I would say, like, personal experience, it will come down to, like, I have some, like, bouts of jealousy. Like, when she goes out on a date, sometimes it'll creep up because I'm thinking, like, man, she's out here going to, I'm trying to give an example. Oh, like, oh, she's going to the library with somebody. And I'm over here, like, just sitting, like, I wonder what she's up to. Like, could ask me, or could, just, making up excuses to justify how I feel. But it doesn't make sense, because I could easily just, like, the next day, and let's go to the library. That wasn't hard. But I'm feeling what I'm feeling in the moment because I'm over here just overthinking or whatever mood I'm in, and I just don't know why. Envy, go to a sex party. I'm more of the I'd rather play with people I know because I am a bit of a sapiosexual that way where I'm a hedonist. I derive pleasure from giving pleasure. It's easier to provide pleasure when you know what that person likes, what that person's about. So if I go to a play party, I'm more than likely not just going to approach someone I don't know to try to play with. And I will look around. You see, some people, they just are extra smooth. They just like peruse a room, or maybe they just know everybody. And sometimes I get envious, like, man, I kind of wish that was me. But again, there's logic to it. It's like I know who I am, I know my limits, and I know if I wanted to, I could work towards like being that. But then I recognize like that's not me though, so it's no point in me trying to be upset in regards to that. And my experience with compersion really comes down to when you see someone you love just smile and is giddy and is just so joyous about having like a great date or anything to that effect, it's just a good feeling because you want good things to happen to good people. And why would you not want good things to happen to your partner? That's just really it's it's weird to explain because again, I grew up with a monogamous mindset, be it from my parents, from movies, TV, society. So feeling joy because of that action it's illogical based on the standard. So every now and again, you kind of like take a back seat and it's like, like why can't this be for everybody? Like why can't you just be generally happy for your partner, be it whatever it is? Like you're happy when your partner gets a promotion and she's all joyous and happy. Why don't you just be happy that they actually had a good date? Because there's a lot of people out here having horrible dates, and it's not fun to see these like bad stories of how someone tried to get you to come back to their rig in order to have sex after a horrible date. Yeah, there was a story on Instagram Live, and I'm like, wow, this guy is literally proving the myth that all truckers are hoes. But it is what it is. But no, beyond that, I mean, in terms of loneliness, neglect, insecurities, I would have to say I combated my insecurities during my like 5 year sabbatical of being single because the things that I feel like In general, in terms of just standard heteronormative things, a man is supposed to be the provider. He's supposed to be comfortable in his finances. He's supposed to. I'm what 33, and I should have like a six-figure job. I should have a house by now. Like there are a lot of things that piled in my head where I'm like, I am inadequate for dating in general. How can I be non-monogamous because of all these things that I feel like I need to achieve, I need to grab, I need to do. And then, that 5 year sabbatical, as I just kind of like was working on myself, I began to realize that, anyone at any time should have love, should like, this shouldn't be like it shouldn't be a limitations because we only have so much time on this earth. And if you're trying to get to a point of perfect, then you might never have a chance to find love because you're over here chasing something that is unachievable. As far as loneliness goes, I'm a man in my own thoughts. I already understand that, and I'm an extrovert. So in terms of loneliness, it's easier for me to go out and about, go to a bar, go meet people. I love chatting it up. Apparently, I stole my charisma from my pop, so I can just pretty much hop in a room and be the center of good times. Like it is who I am. So I never really had to bat loneliness. But in terms of neglect, this is not something that I have felt myself, but I can tell it's something that I portrayed, which is not something to be proud of. Like, ADHD or not, I still need to be mindful of my partner or partners, and that was like I never felt neglect because I'm always comfortable in my own skin. I'm always comfortable in my own head. But to others, it can come off if, like, for example, I might be hyper focused on something brand new, and all of a sudden, I have not replied to a text message. Like, I have done that before. And that person doesn't feel good because like a whole day and they didn't hear from me. That's not good. That's very neglectful. Like even as I am now, I still am a work in progress to make sure that I provide equitable treatment because I am team equitable, not equal, because everyone doesn't need everything. But I still have to be on my toes. I have to still work on myself to make sure I am not neglectful to others because that is not a good feeling. And I guess, well, before we take this break, let me also go ahead and go into my own personal practices in order to combat like the negative side of things. Now, as far as jealousy and envy go, there is always a root cause to everything. So, another personal belief of mine, this might be something that I should have picked up in a psychology course or something. I see emotions and feelings as two different things. I feel like emotions, you have your base four or five emotions: happy, sad, angry, fearful. And I think that's pretty much like it's like the primary colors. Like emotions are emotions. These are innate reactions that always happens across humans, hell, even across just your standard animals. Like they will always be there. And I see feelings as a combination of certain attributes of emotions, and they can vary even further than that. Like I see feelings more so jealousy, envy, horniness. Like these are something that are compiled with thoughts and mix in with the emotions. So that's like off the bat. So that way, so you can understand where I'm coming from when I'm talking about feelings. Now, I do see when it comes to jealousy and envy, it really comes down to kind of breaking down certain logical things. Now, why are you feeling this jealousy? Is it because you yourself are not getting enough time? Or is it that you want more time? Is it possible that you are fearful that you're losing your partner to someone else? Is it that you are kind of just feeling what's the word, kind of not combative, competitive, because you have a partner that's been out on like 4 dates this week and you over here can't even find one. Like you have, the way I do it is I look for the baseline logic of why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, because if I don't know why, there's no way to work through it. That means I'm just walking blind with no kind of guidance to what can be done to like figure out what's all going on. I feel like, but again, though empath, I do rely on logic. That's how I try to keep myself centered in all things. That way, I'm not running off the rails and just getting angry for no reason. I would say another thing I do is I ask for time. Like if I can't comprehend why I'm feeling a way, or if I need to collect my thoughts, I will ask my partner, "Hey, I need some space. Like, give me an hour, give me a day. I'm feeling certain things that I need to work out through. Give me some time so I can think it out, and then I want to come back to you and discuss it once I have like everything worked out in my head." Because yes, sometimes going off the cuff is beneficial in getting to the true core of what you're feeling, but sometimes it might be a little too raw and you might hit on something that has nothing to do with the issue at hand. So it's okay to ask your partner for some time so you can collect yourself and then go back and, face what's going on. So that way you're in a more clear headed state, because we've all done some dumb shit when we were angry. Bring back to the example of punching a hole in the wall because you got a hurt hand and you have a wall you got to repair, or else you're not getting your deposit. So yeah, that's what it comes down to. But if anything, I will say breathing would be the third thing, because sometimes you get caught up in your own head. You create scenarios. You are overthinking. Sometimes just stopping and taking a breath to reset yourself does wonders. So I would say those are my main three: logic, time and space, taking a breath. Those are like my main three go-tos whenever I have feelings that could explode out. And I guess the last thing is to just talk with my partner. Like, they are my partner for a reason. They are here because they love me. I am there because I love them. Simply talking it out can do a lot, especially if you need that kind of security blanket, that affirmation to let me know, like, oh no, I am here for you. I am on your side. Just, just talk it out. Communication is always the number one thing when it comes to any kind of relationship, be it friendship, monogamous, non-monogamous. Like, communication does wonders. So never be afraid to talk to your partner. Like, they're your partner for a reason. I guess I haven't tried this last one, but I am seeking a non-monogamous friendly therapist. But I feel like I would love to find a therapist that way. It'll help in terms of talking things out and possibly finding better tools in order to work through these feelings. But yeah, let me go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be back to actually talk about an article I found on Fetlife, written by Polyanagram, in regards to how do I deal with insecurity. All right, back y'all.
Yeah.
All right, travelers, welcome back, and let's go ahead and get into it. Don't want to take too much of your time here. I'm already hitting like 30 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and try to keep this relatively short, even though there's a lot of information. But again, I am going to go ahead and share a writing by Polyanagram. Now, the article that she wrote, it is on Fetlife. Fetlife is essentially a BDSM version of Facebook. You can create a profile. You can search for things that are not within the Facebook guidelines. So there will be nudity, there will be cursing, there will be sharing of various BDSM aspects. But yeah, so if you have an account, I'm gonna have the link in the description. It is a wonderful article. Like, I know I cannot go through all of it myself, in this podcast, but I want to go ahead and touch on a couple things that, she was able to actually get into. Now, the title of the article is Non-monogamy, How Do I Deal with Insecurity? Now, she created this because a friend asked, how do you really deal with insecurity if, the friend was trying to get into polyamory. Well, not trying to get into, but seeing if it works for them. But the one thing that always came to mind was how to deal with insecurity. And I feel like this is one of the biggest things when discussing non monogamy with people that are monogamous or don't even know about non monogamy. Because it always comes down to feelings. Like, oh man, I'm too jealous for that. Or, how can you share your woman with another man? It always comes down to, honestly, jealousy and insecurity, envy. It's always about, they always go to the negatives without ever thinking of the positive. And the only positive they always come up with is sex. And yes, sex is a positive, but there's so much more to it than just simply fucking. Because clearly, people are monogamous and still fucking other people behind their partner's back. So let's be real. Sex is great. Mwah, love sex. Chef's kiss, perfect. But it's not everything. Now, in order to go, I'm gonna go ahead and just touch on some bases. I love the fact she got titles. She has them color coded. Like, shout out to her from the UK. As you can see, I'm over here stateside. Clearly, this when it comes to non-monogamy, it is not simply left for people, be it in the U.S. or various practices like polygamy, mainly polygyny via religion. But yeah, let's get into it. Now, the very first thing she did say, though, is the way you deal with insecurity is by actually dealing with it, which I feel like I'm glad you put that first because it is very important. Because more times than not, the way people deal with insecurities is just to hold it in and hope it goes away. Like, yo, this ain't the boogeyman that's under your bed. Like, you have to actually figure out what it is you're insecure about and actually see what you can do to mitigate that. Because it might be possible that you will always feel that insecurity. You might have some abandonment issues. You might have some experiences with that person that you found unfruitful and now it's always in the back of your head. So you have to tackle and see what is causing this insecurity for you. And the way you do that is, again, perfect timing. Know yourself and what you want. Now, when it comes to discussing non monogamy with others, what they fail to realize is that we're just people doing what we see fit. Society told us to do one thing, and the way it looks, that's not for everybody. Like, there's a reason why we're humans. We make options. Like, what if they said the only thing you could eat was fish? Guess what? Someone out there figured out, oh, we can eat animals. Oh, we can eat plants. Like, there are options. There are various options. Like, imagine if all we can eat were peanuts. Damn near everyone with a peanut allergy wouldn't make it. That's the point of having these options. And you have to know yourself what you want. Like, on paper, wow, this looks amazing. But in reality, I am working 60 hours a week. I barely have time for myself. Imagine that's you, and now you're saying, ooh, I want 3 partners. What are they going to do? Like, you have no time for anybody. So you have to know yourself and understand what it is that you want and what you can handle. Because bandwidth is important. If you don't have the bandwidth, sadly, you'll have to either find a way to get more bandwidth or you'll have to mitigate with what you have. And when you know yourself, then you can explore what kind of non-monogamy is for you. Because the beauty in non-monogamy is there are so many options. I am a relationship anarchist. I know plenty of polyamorous people that practice, be it solo poly, where they're their own partners and everyone else is technically a secondary in their lives. I know kitchen table poly, where everyone in the dynamic is cool with each other. There's parallel polyam, where partners essentially do not interact with the metas. And it just, there are just varying options. Hell, even monogamish is an option where you keep the concept of monogamy overall, but then you provide certain criteria that allow for extramarital situations, be it swingers, or if you're on a business trip, hey, if you're in the city, go have fun. I mean, I'm not going to be able to be there with you, so on business trips, go ahead and get your weenie wet. Like, there are varying options of non-monogamy. You just got to figure out which one is right for you. And once you decide which monogamy is right for you, the next step is you have to find a partner that matches with that. There has been a lot of failed situations where you'll have a person that's non-monogamous try to date a monogamous person with the intent of seeing if you can convert them into non-monogamy. No, That should never be the attempt. You should go as your full self, let them know who you are, and give them the choice to either interact with you or not interact with you. Because there are some dynamics out there where one partner is monogamous and the other partner is not. And it works for them because they were upfront and fruitful to what they can handle and what they want. Now, that doesn't say that all the like every partner that you walk to that matches with you is going to work out. No, relationships end. Relationships are not meant to be. It's just a matter of making sure that you focus on a partner that matches what you're looking for, and in turn, you match what they're looking for. Because it could be easy for me to find someone that is like, "Ooh, she is perfect," and then she turns around and is like, "Ooh, no, you're not." And I have to accept that. Like, I'm not for everybody. Everyone is not for everyone. The whole goal is to find the someone for you. And communication is everything. Communicate, communicate, communicate. And the reason why communication is such an emphasis is because most problems will be resolved if we talk it out as opposed to assuming or keeping things in. If you keep things in, your partner will never know there's a problem until it becomes so much of a problem that you blow up. You have to make sure that you communicate. You have to communicate effectively. You can't try to drop hints and hope someone picks it up. You have to be upfront and honest with your feelings to them so that they can receive it and then they can provide their feelings to you. That's just the baseline of when it comes to communication. Understand different communication styles. Some people are not good with direct confrontation, so maybe you need to learn some way to bring things up gradually in order for that person to receive them so you can have a fruitful discussion. Some people are even lacking when it comes to communication, and you have to express that to them so they understand that, because anytime you hold back, you are essentially making decisions for your partner. I don't believe that's right. I believe you should be able to give all the information to your partner so they can make their own informed decision. You do not have the right to make the decision for them by holding things back. So again, communicate. And again, do not be afraid to have feelings. Like, feelings are here. Feelings exist. You cannot control them. We are not robots. You cannot delete the program of emotions from you. You have to accept the fact that you are going to feel what you feel and process that. And you have to live with that. And in turn, you have to recognize that your partner has feelings. It's easy for us to have our own hero complex. What was the term? Not protagonist. Essentially, you see yourself as the hero of your own story. Like, we're going through life as if everyone's a side character, forgetting, we are the side character to someone else's life. So that person also has feelings. You have to be mindful of their feelings. Now, again, I'm a natural empath. It's great and it sucks. It's great because I can kind of be in tune with others' emotional states. It sucks because I take on their emotions. If someone is sad and crying next to me, for some reason or another, I can't help but tear up. It's who I am. It's what it is. I get it from my mama. So it does help me understanding others' emotions, be it from my actions or the actions of others. So it kind of helps me. Some people need to work at empathy because some people need to live through a thing before they could be like, oh man, damn, I didn't see it that way. Now it makes sense to me. Biggest example is, I prefer to say R word because most likely a lot of women have been a victim of said R word. So just because I don't want to trigger anyone, I will just say the R word. But the biggest example is, we have a culture of it. And more times than not, men are over here thinking, oh, why you're dressing that way? Oh, why you're doing this? Oh, you shouldn't be out by yourself. Not even thinking on what the women are feeling, but all of a sudden, their close friend, their mother, their sister face such an interaction. Then all of a sudden, oh, wow, I did not realize that until something close to me had this happen to them. That's what I mean by someone that actually have to face a thing before they actually recognize the impact. On my end, being naturally empathetic, I don't need someone to face that for me to realize it. For others, they do. And I believe people like that, if they put in the work, they can actually understand it without needing to have someone go through it. it just takes time to just step back and realize, yo, you should be listening more than you're talking. And that also comes down to her next point of being realistic. You have to understand that love might be infinite, but your time is not. So, yes, you can love the 7 billion people that's on this earth. Guess what? I think it takes how like over 1,000 years. If you counted a number per second and try to get to a billion, you pretty much will not make it because you'll die. Because I think it takes 134 years or something to that effect. I'll look it up later. Don't quote me. But yeah, so yes, love is infinite. Your time is not. So you have to be mindful of what all is on your plate, be it family, kids, pets, job. You have to be reasonable to what you can and can't handle whenever you're going for whatever dating option. And also, do not look to others for your own self-worth. Like, that's how you get manipulated, that's how you get your heart broken, and that's how you get put into dangerous situations. Always treat yourself, always find your self-worth within yourself. You are your biggest fan. Never forget that. And then also, be happy spending time alone. This is one thing that I feel like we kind of miss out on because we're so busy looking for connections that we kind of forget that we have to be connected with ourselves. We have to know what our worth is to us as well as our value to others, because we tend to forget that we bring something to other people's lives as well as our own. So that's something you also got to remember whenever you're trying to go out there. Now, as far as also combating insecurities, it really does come down to do not compare yourself to others and don't try to compete with them. Because my favorite saying is the depth of joy, the comparison is the depth of joy. Because you can be happy, like you just got a brand new Honda. You saved up, you got it cash. You're like, yeah, I got this new amazing ride. Then all of a sudden, a Lamborghini drives past you. And then all of a sudden, you are not as happy anymore because, man, that's a Lamborghini. I just got a Honda. You were just happy 2 seconds ago until that car passed up. Like, yes, Lamborghini, expensive, fancy, cool. But don't compare. Like, you know the work you put into that. You know what you wanted. You did the work. You are, like, don't forget that joy you had just because something else is coming along. And also look to doing this exercise. This one actually is something that I came across in psychology class. And it seems like this woman actually came across it on the Cunning Minx and the Polyamory Weekly podcast. And it's essentially the and then what exercise. So, for example, I'm going to go ahead and give the example she gave here because it's great. My partner is going away for the weekend with someone else, and it makes me feel really insecure. I can't do full weekends away because of other responsibilities. And then what? My partner is going to get closer to the other person because they got more time. And then what? My person will have less time for me and or get annoyed at my complicated life. And then what? They'll decide they don't want to see me anymore. And then what? I'll never find anyone else like them. And then what? It'll be sad and miserable. And then what? My other partners will leave me because I'm sad and miserable. And then what? I'll die alone and be eaten by my pets. And then what? Fuck you, robot. I just been eaten by my pets and you don't care. And then what? That's the thing. You literally are breaking down. It's kind of going back to my point about using logic. You're breaking down everything that to the roots. You're trying to get to the core. So essentially, she's just afraid that she'll end up lonely because she won't have time for her partner. She doesn't have time for her partner. She thinks her partner's going to just up and dip. And when you get down to it, it's like, oh, okay, this is why I'm feeling bad. And you can kind of address that, be it talk to your partner, see what's going on, see if you can make more time, kind of get into what's going on. And then she did put that, accept that this will take time and it won't feel great. It won't always feel great. And that's because it does take work. It does take time. you're literally fighting yourself. Like, insecurities are not provided by others. They all come internally. You're the one that thinks that you don't look good enough. You're the one that thinks that you don't have enough time. You're the one that thinks that someone doesn't like you. Like, it's all internal. That's where all insecurities come from. No one's putting it on you. You're doing it to yourself. And overall, just keep going. Like, don't quit. Don't give up. Keep doing the work on yourself. Keep fighting for what it is that you want. And try to just break down and figure out all that would work for you. Because relationships are hard. Ethically non-monogamous relationships are harder because they take work. They take you going outside yourself more times than not because everyone is different, and interacting with more romantic or sexual partners is just work it's just a lot more work that you're giving to yourself. But for those that truly enjoy it, it is so fulfilling and worth it. So that is essentially her article. I'm going to make sure I include the link into my show notes so that way y'all will have access to it. She goes into more depth. I'm thankful that she gave me permission to use this on this episode. But yeah, this will be it for today on this episode 4 of Hitchhiker's Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy. I do appreciate y'all for listening in. And I guess I'm going to go ahead and leave y'all with this. Feelings suck. Feelings are amazing. Feelings are fun. Feelings are dreadful. Feelings are everything. We are human, and we have been blessed with the ability to go through all these complex emotions and experiences. So at the bare minimum, let's at least be thankful for that. And let's just hope that we have more highs than lows. All right, travelers, I'm going to go ahead and call it. And yeah, be sure to reach out to me. Hitchhiking to ENM on Twitter, 1H, so that's HITCHIKINGTOENM. Sorry, I swear, I'm going to learn how to spell that one day. Also available on Instagram at Hitchhiker's Guide to ENM. If you want to see my more kinkier side of things, it's Hedonistic Vibes with a Z on Instagram. And yeah, you could always reach out to me at Hitchhiker's Guide to words. But yeah, you can always reach out to me at Hitchhiker's Guide to ENM@gmail.com. You can go ahead and drop questions, comments, concerns. Just, let me hear from y'all. And until the next episode, y'all take care. Peace.